Hello and welcome to the Early Morning Podcast. This is a special edition of the Early Morning Podcast. We'll be discussing UFC 176. This is going to be a UFC episode. So I hope this strikes your interest. If not, you might not want to tune into this. We're going to be discussing the prelims all the way up until the main card, fight by fight. My opinion of the fights, what I noticed after the fights, during the fights, and what I think about after the fights. This has been recorded shortly after I just watched them. So let's start with, like I said, this is UFC Fight Night 176. We'll start with I missed the first fight. I did, I'll admit that, and I only caught the highlights of the second one of the preliminary card. And I did see Courtney Casey get caught in an armbar, I believe it was, or did. No, she was put in an armbar, or she put Barella in an armbar, and I know Casey's got a good grappling game, and it happened in the first round. It happened quickly, within less than 2 minutes. So I believe she took her to the ground quite quickly and just got her in an armbar, and like I said, Barella couldn't handle it, and she tapped, and that's what I saw out of the highlights. And then this next fight actually really it kind of pissed me off. I'll be honest, man. It was, if you're a UFC fan, you might enjoy stuff like this. You might not enjoy stuff like this. It was I'll give his first name, Nate Landwehr versus Darren Elkins. And I know I like Elkins. I've seen him fight before, and he's a tough motherfucker, man. He usually, he's got a chin on him. And I like his technique overall, but I've never seen Landwehr fight. He's got 14 wins or now 15, I believe, 3 losses, and man, he was taunting from the beginning, Elkins, and it was just annoying, man. And at first it didn't. He was putting his arm behind his back. He was just waving at his face. Come on, hit me. You see that every now and then in fights, but this guy was doing it in the first round, and he was doing it with just such a like bitch attitude that, like, of course he's trying to get in Elkins' head, and he eventually did. Elkins, he was still, I'll be honest, he kept a crazy pace throughout the whole fight, still landing shots on him, which maybe was driving Landwehr to, some fighters are like that. They just, the more they get hit, the more damage they take, the more they want to get in your face and taunt you. And it kind of seemed like that kind of happened with him, but that was unfortunate. I really thought Elkins did a lot more damage in the fight with the shots that he did deliver and land. But Landwehr did do some. He had some significant knees, and I believe he took him down once or twice, but it didn't really seem that those takedowns did much damage, in my opinion. But he ended up winning that fight, which, like I said, it could go either way. And the next fight was Chikadze versus Rivera. I'm sorry. And from the beginning, Chikadze just dominated. Rivera just did not seem ready. He was outstriked from the first round. The fight lasted, what's it called? It did go to decision, but still, it was like almost unfair. It lasted, all 3 rounds, but I think it was, what was it? I can't remember the score. Like 27-30, almost all of them for Chikadze. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name, but Chikadze, and he was just, his striking was outrageous. I believe he had a kickboxing career or a background, and he was just, he was very light on his feet, sitting on his punches for sure, which we'll get back to that, which for another fighter, that's going to be a tough one for me to talk about, but whatever. Like I said, he was just outstriking him from the beginning. Rivera knew that he lost the fight. He knew that he didn't do any damage, and that was just, it was kind of like a clinic, basically. Which brings us to our next fight. Kevin Holland, Anthony Hernandez. both of them with decent records. Kevin with a little bit of a better one. Holland, I mean. And from the beginning, dude, this fight was it was entertaining, but it was quick. It was lasted 39 seconds officially, and Holland just went at Hernandez. He was just with knees and punches, and he threw a great combination, I believe, but it was the knee that knocked him out. And I thought it was in 15 seconds. Honestly, I thought it was in 15 to 20 seconds that happened, but apparently it was a little bit longer. And that was just, I don't know, very very crazy. He just looked completely fearless. They both looked very prepared for the fight, but Holland just he like I said, not put a clinic on him, but he just destroyed the guy, man. He went at him with the knee, and he great combinations, like I said, and he just added to his record, another W to it. And this was the last fight. That brings us to the last fight of the prelims, which was Matt Brown, the legend, versus Baeza. And I don't want to, obviously I've spoiled all of the prelims right now, and I don't want to spoil this if you want to plan on watching this fight or these fights. But man, it was sad to see the legend go down. There was drama from the beginning to the end. I mean, the fight was 2 rounds, ended early in the second round. But it was very dramatic. Like I said, I thought Brown had it from the beginning. He took Baeza down. I thought the ref was going to intervene because he was just landing hammer fists and punches all over him. But Baeza managed to, hip toss out of it, get out of it. And then he ended up knocking him out with a great left to the jaw. I mean, that's really what happened. He got up on his feet, was able to get his bearings about, and just ended up, I don't remember, like I said, if it was a great combination or anything. I think he slipped a couple punches from Brown and then just hit him with the jaw, tried to come finish him, hit him with an elbow, I think, but it was already over with after that while Brown was on his back. And that's just how that one went down. That was a really entertaining fight, especially if you're a Matt Brown fan. I mean, I'm sure you're kind of disappointed, but still, it was a good fight. And that'll bring me to my another point before I discuss the main event. Actually, I have 2 points before I discuss the main event. Fuck the tweets that consistently pop up while people are fighting. If I'm seeing 2 people in a cage fight each other for 15 to 25 minutes, I do not want to see a consecutive amount of people's tweets or opinions or ideas or whatever the fuck they think they have. Why the UFC is publishing that on ESPN. This was on ESPN. You didn't have to pay for this fight. But whatever the reason they think that's a good idea, I do not understand. But as a viewer, I hate it, man. Fuck that. It blocks the screen. It's distracting. I don't end up reading over half of them. But still, like, I don't understand. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. I mean, it's not like they're gonna listen to me, but I really, really hope that they get some more flack from people that actually matter, and they don't do that, man. They did that on the last card that we talked about. What's it called? I didn't mention it, but they were putting tweets up the whole time, and man, it was just so annoying. I don't want to, like, it wasn't really it was distracting because it just covers your screen. I didn't care to read them because I want to see the people fight, but I don't want to see a huge gray box go over my screen. That brings me to my next sponsor, or my sponsor, not next, but our first sponsor, which is Truly. If you truly want to enjoy a refreshing beverage, grab a Truly hard seltzer. You got a variety of flavors. They now have the lemonade flavor, where you can get black cherry lemonade, original lemonade, mango, or strawberry lemonade. And they already have, 6 other flavors in their normal Truly pack. So from passion fruit to wild berry to grapefruit to pineapple. I mean, whatever. They have something you like, okay? So grab a Truly, stay refreshed. And especially if you're trying to catch, a nice, if you're trying to watch a nice UFC card like tonight's, you grab a 24-pack, grab a 12, grab a 6-pack if you need to. And now we go into the mains. First of all, also I want to say, Bisping looks. I can't remember the guy's name right now. I don't know why, but I think it was John Anik, Bisping, and this other guy. Which Bisping and this other guy, bearded guy. They're the same person, just with different color beards. They look the exact same. They could literally switch faces, just keep the same beard, and they're the same, or a different color beard, and they're the same person. You would not be able to tell unless Bisping changed his accent. It's ridiculous. I can't remember. I can't believe I can't remember this guy's name, but they're the same person. I noticed they were standing side by side, and I was like, wow, is that two Michael Bispings, one American and one that's British, or what? But yeah, that'll bring me to my next main point before we really get into the main card of UFC 176 fight night. I talked a lot on this podcast about Claudia Gadelha and how much I think that she's a fucking bitch ass. No, I'm kidding. Just how I don't like how she really acts on social media, and how I've just grown this kind of opinion of her that's not the most positive. And I know she's a great fighter and all, but whatever. She fought tonight. She ended up fighting tonight, and her English was better than I thought it would be because she's from Brazil and shit. But that was a co-main event. I'll talk about that later. But shout out to her. No beef against you at all. I know you don't even listen to this, but whatever. The first was Song versus Vera, which that was a beast-ass fight. One of my homies thought Song was Korean Zombie. I was like, no, but he could be in the future. I mean, that fight was just full of crazy flurries and body shots from the both of them. I had Song from the beginning. I thought it would be Song that would take that would win that fight. Just because I've seen him fight before, and also, I mean, his record is very similar to Vera's, but just his fight style, how he fights, like he could take a lot of damage. A lot of those Korean dudes, man, they can take punches to the chin, their eye, nothing, and barely even bleed or anything. It was completely quick pace the whole fight, and then it seemed to be like Vera dominated after some time with strikes, and he took Song to the ground for a little bit. After that was about a little bit over halfway, probably towards the end of the second round, and then it was kind of, you could go one round for one round, and then it really did seem like Vera dominated the third round as well. He was really going his strike. He didn't seem winded. Neither did Song really, but and from what I recall and what I saw, it really looked like Vera had the most control, and he was doing the most damage overall of the fight. But I was surprised to see that Song, they gave it to Song. It could be because there's not a lot, but right now his name is big in the community, and they didn't want to give him a loss, which is a whole other argument or topic to discuss. But that's just, I mean, at the end of the day, that's sometimes how the UFC operates, and that could have been what it is. Maybe I just misjudged it or misremembered it. But that brings us to the next fight. Eric Anders, Krzysztof Jotko, and for the majority of the fight, I really couldn't tell who was winning. I mean, it was kind of just a back and forth of like some shots connecting, some shots not. Jotko did look a little bit more lively. It looked like he landed some more damaging strikes. Honestly, I mean, it didn't. It was hard to tell though. It really, like, this fight was one of the weirder ones on the card, because further what's it called? Fuck, man. Yeah, give me that. Further middleweights usually, they have enough energy to go, a long time. These guys did go, 3 rounds, the whole 15. But I still, I mean, I could barely tell. Like I said, from a little bit, Jotko did land a little bit more damaging strikes, and I can't remember if he landed that many. I think he was doing a lot of front leg kicks, and those probably, ended up giving him the advantage. But that one was kind of a, average fight. And that brings us to another one, man. the one of my favorite, up and coming. I don't even know if you want to call him an up and coming fighter at this point, but one of my favorite guys to watch, Dan Ige. He fought Edson Barbosa, who Barbosa's got he's got a lengthy record. And he's 20-9. Ige now 15-2, I believe. But Ige was being so versatile, man, and it seemed like he did not give a fuck, dude. From the start to the end, he was throwing so many punches with power and being able to slip punches that were even kicks. Edson Barbosa, he did a great job of measuring distance to not let Barbosa give him knees or any front kicks or any kind of head kicks. He did throw some head kicks. Barbosa did. A couple of them did land and probably do some damage, but Ige still did a great job, honestly, of keeping a close distance, not allowing him to, do what he's best known for. And the announcers many times mention, oh yeah, Barbosa, you got to watch out for his left switch kick or his right kick to the thigh. And Ige did a great job of playing that off, and he was just also not flurrying Barbosa, but just playing it very smart, watching his angles and throwing a bunch of punches that ended up landing great, powerful shots, and overall doing more damage than Barbosa was able to do with some of his kicks and shots, or punches, rather. Barbosa's not a bad striker to say in the slightest, but he was outfought by Ige. Honestly, that's really how it seemed, and the judges agreed the same way, and it was really just as a fan, it was a pleasure to watch how Ige was able to defend his himself from Barbosa's kicks. It was almost able to tell, and Barbosa's one of the greatest. You people know that he's very well respected for his Muay Thai, his kickboxing, and Ige just did an amazing job of being able to read when he was about to throw a spinning kick or maybe a switch heel high kick. And he just did a great job. I think he did take a few low kicks to the calf, but overall, like I said, he did do a better job of landing those more powerful punches to Barbosa that did do some damage. At one point I thought Barbosa had a broken nose. He was bleeding pretty hard from it, but that was a great fight. That was a really good fight. And that brings me to our gal, our famous friend on this podcast. I hope she's a friend. I hope she becomes a friend one day. I'd love to have her on one day as a guest. Claudia Gadelha versus Angela Hill, which was the co-main event of the evening. Like I said, it was UFC Fight Night 176. And as much as I said, like I mentioned before, as much as I talked about Claudia, first of all, the announcers were mentioning her, Claudia Gadelha. They were saying her name so weird, man. I don't know if I'm saying it weird or right, or who is. Fuck, dude. All right, man. But it was. They were saying her name weird, but yeah, Claudia Gadelha. She's been mentioned before on this podcast. She fought Angela Hill tonight, and that was probably one of my favorite fights of the night. That one, Ige and Barbosa, and then of course the main event, which we'll get to right after this. But Gadelha, she's a beast. I've known she's a beast. I just, like I said, I don't like how she acts on social media and how she just seems so fake and all, just whatever. As a person, I just can't get past her or whatever. Angela Hill is so more likable. She was homeless. I think I mentioned that before. She joined a gym, and she's an animal as well. She's really a beast, okay? And it seemed like she was in control most of the fight. It really did. It seemed like she had more control. They were mostly exchanging punches for the most of the part. There was, I believe, one takedown in the first round by Gadelha that she didn't do much with. She really didn't do much. She held her down for about 45 seconds, I think. maybe give or take, and didn't really do much. She didn't get her in any kind of stressful or what's it called, kind of submissive positions. She just kind of had her on a half guard and was just sitting on top of her, pretty much, really just sitting on her back, which is, you don't want that from Claudia, but Angela just did a great job of, I guess, keeping her off, keeping her distracted, trying to keep wrist control and trying to keep her hips moving and try to get out of it. And then that was that. After that, man, it just really seemed like to me it could have gone either way. There were some great right hands thrown by both. I mean, if you look at Gadelha and if you look at Hill, you'd be surprised as like who's strong. Not surprised, but it's pretty clear who has a stronger punch. And Gadelha's punches were stronger, but they weren't as consistent, and they were as not well put together as Angela's. Angela was landing way better combinations that seemed to do way more damage. She was able to draw blood, I believe, on the upper, on the eyebrow of Gadelha, and was targeting. She had just killer right hands, and basically, like I said, it was basically all on standing up. They were just going, very few leg kicks, very few head kicks thrown, very few kicks period thrown, mostly just elbows, uppercuts, and straight right hands a lot. Gadelha missed so many like lefts and attempted hooks from what I remember, but at the end they gave it to her. They gave it to Claudia Gadelha, and I believe it was because she's ranked. She's ranked, I think, number 6 or number 8 in the featherweight division, and or I'm sorry, strawweight, I believe. They ended up giving it to her after a decision of 15 minutes, and Angela Hill's not ranked. She's not on. She's not in this. She's not. I mean, she's obviously a huge name in the strawweight class or in the division, but she's not. She doesn't have a number by her name, so that's really why I think they gave it to Claudia, to be honest. And it's unfortunate that it went that way, but it did. And that'll bring us to our final topic of the pod, the special UFC edition of the podcast, the early morning podcast, and that was Alistar Overeem versus Walt Harris. And man, I knew Overeem was fighting, but I did not know he was fighting Harris, to be honest. Wow. Really, wow. That's, I mean, okay, I get it. Harry, I mean, if you know anything about UFC, which if you're listening to this, you probably do. Walt Harris lost his daughter last September due to a kidnapping and murder, I'm sorry. And which is just tragic overall, and he wasn't sure if he was going to fight again, and he didn't really commit to any UFC contracts, I don't believe. And until recently, he felt that, I don't want to get too much into it. He just felt comfortable again fighting, and he felt that it would be okay with his family and with God rest her soul, his daughter, for him to pursue the career he was in. And he took a fight against, a legend. Alistar Overeem, and like, I know it's been a weird past few months, but I feel like this year, we're 5 months into this year, I feel like he's fought 4 or 5 times already, and just 2 or 3 months ago, he nearly ripped his lip off. I believe I've mentioned that already, but dude, this guy's insane, man. And that fight was crazy. That fight it only went 2 rounds. Could have been, 2 rounds, but it could have gone quicker. Harris got a great start on it by he landed some great combinations on Overeem. But Overeem, being the veteran that he is, he was able to deflect, and he was able to take the damage for a little bit, and then he got even taken down at one point. And once he was taken down, he was able to just do great grappling defense. Get a heel, not a heel hook, but grab his heel, switch his positioning, get on his feet, and just kind of really, really, really wind Harris for the rest of that round, and just with punches, and I believe he took him down as well, kept him on the ground for a few seconds of the fight, And then the third round is where it kind of just, the second round is where it just kind of was over with for Harris. I mean, he was so tired, you could hear him breathing, which is what another thing I loved about, having an empty arena. And, it sucks, obviously, but you hear the punches land, you hear the fighters breathing, you hear the coaches communicating. You can even hear the commentators talking through your screen because their voice is being caught by the mics. It's honestly crazy, but not crazy, but it's really entertaining, especially if you're a really big fight fan. Like, you'd love to hear those slight things they have to say. And Harris's corner was just encouraging him to stay in the fight, and they were telling him, you got this. You got this. And I know in the back of his mind he was thinking of his daughter and how he wanted to prove that he can do this for her, and how he's not giving up. But Overeem, man, was just dominating him. He had him on his back, and he was I don't know officially how many punches, but he had to have landed close to probably 40 to 50. I'm serious. I'm not exaggerating. 40 to 50 right hooks, or right, not even hammer fists, just right hooks to his temple and jaw. Whether it would be under he was doing it. Like I said, he's a veteran. He knows what he's doing. He waited until Harris was tired, got him on his back, and just was flurrying him with right hooks and right overhands between, underneath his armpit and over his shoulder. And there were several times I thought the referee could have called it, but Harris was putting his hands up, and like I said, that's when he was thinking about his daughter and whatnot. But still, I have to admire him, and I have to admire the both of them for first of all for Harris taking a fight after what's what's happened to his family, and especially his daughter, rest in peace. But Overeem for having a record that he has, 46 wins, 47 wins, 18 losses, and for being a veteran in this game for I believe 10, 12 years. He's just a legend, and I hope he drew a lot of people that watched the event, because he deserves his paycheck, and so does Harris, and so do all the fighters on this card. And shout out, like I said, shout out Truly. If you want to grab a refreshing, hard seltzer, any kind of seltzer or beverage, grab a Truly. You'll truly enjoy it. There's a variety of flavors. And thank you for listening to this edition of the Early Morning Podcast UFC. This was a UFC 176 Fight Night edition. Peace.